Drake. I'm like, fuck a bill, Jack. Guaranteed to get the money regardless of any current predicament. I learned to adapt. I don't know what you boys thought this was. I'm 100% certain it ain't that. If you want me to give you a pat on the back.
What poppin', So Lit fam? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, TREZSOOLIT, baby. And as always, I got my very beautiful wife in on this reaction. Baby, introduce yourself.
And it's your girl Marisha, so lit.
Let's do it, gang. So look, man, I seen y'all comments. I'm sorry I made y'all wait yesterday, but I had to wait on my wife for part 2, you feel me? So look, I'm not even finna hold y'all. I'm not gonna do too much talking. We're finna get straight into it. This is Trevor Noah. He's dropping gems on Charlamagne the Guy. You feel me? Let's do this.
So you understand the whole conversation about reparations now? Because it's really just the acknowledgement that America did something wrong.
Right, yeah. And I think that's the interesting thing is just framing, you know? You look at Germany. Germany goes back to Namibia and they're like, hey, we're gonna pay. We're gonna pay for what we did. And we're not paying to pay you off. You know, I've seen a talking point that people have gone with that. They've been like, black people are just gonna get paid off. It's not about paid off. It's about somebody out there acknowledging, hey, I put you down and kept you down so that I could build everything I have today. And as we all understand, with compound interest and with accumulations of wealth, holding somebody else down and growing what you've taken from them can lead you to be in a position where they can never, ever catch up to you. There's never truly equality.
Listen, the facts that he's stating is so amazing because I actually heard Dr. Khalid Muhammad. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but when he spoke on South Africa, he spoke in that same term. I forgot who it was that invaded South Africa. Don't get on me. I can't remember. It was somebody that invaded South Africa, and he told them, it's like, you have no right to share your home with a burglar and watch them get wealthy and parlay it in front of you. You feel me? So it's very relatable. It's very relatable, bro. And I love that. I honestly never because I knew Trevor Noah was very smart, but I didn't really get to see clips of him dropping gems like this, you know?
Yeah.
Big ups to him.
So the conversations around reparations really have to be in and around that. It's just studying and looking at, hey, is there something we can do in this country that can truly put black people in a position where they are equal? Not just equal on the surface, but they are equal. And we've realized that on many levels in America, black Americans have been held back on so many different levels. You know, whether it's getting higher interest rates for not just loans from banks, but also student loans. You leave school with a higher level of debt for studying the same thing as a student who is white. How is that equality?
I never knew that. He just put facts on me. He just put facts on. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never actually took the time to go in and see that, okay, if a black and a white study the same thing, which one's going to come out with a higher interest on their student loan? I never knew that.
But why
I never knew that.
You see what I'm saying? Why does this happen? Why?
It's all happened from slavery. It's just, it was all put into place to keep black people back.
It's never going to end, though.
That's how I feel, honestly.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
But the thing is, it's coming together too. Don't you agree with that? Before
we can come together, our people have to first be seen as being equal. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Our people have to first be seen as being equal. Because if that's the case, if we're seen as being equal, I don't see young blacks, going out there just robbing and stealing for no reason because they'll be seen as equal. They'll go get a job. You know what I mean? Most people that do that, they do it because it's hard for them to find a job. And then once you go to jail, you get out, they hold that criminal record against you forever.
Forever,
yeah.
Exactly. They even had, remember that situation where a white man went to jail and he only went to jail for like 4 or 5 years, and then the person did the same crime as him. Black guy did the same crime as him and was sentenced for 20, 50, it's insane.
Black people get over sentenced,
Let's see. And I think those are some of the conversations that Americans need to have, but it's been spun again because people have made it seem like, hey, Dan, you're gonna have to give them $50. Hey, Petey, you're gonna pay $100. And that's not what it's gonna be. Yeah. But I think people have managed to successfully distill it into this simple talking point, that makes it feel like it's an us versus them conversation, when in fact it's not.
No, it's simple. America systemically did something to put black people in a bad position. Right. Now systemically do something to put them in a good position.
It's as simple as that. I always ask people, why wouldn't you want that as well? I always go like, why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want to see black communities raised up? Why wouldn't you want to? I don't understand why you wouldn't want to see that. And America has a history of doing that. That's another thing for me. America has a history of helping people. America has a history of going, hey, farmers, we're going to give you subsidies. We're going to help the corn industry. Hey, you know what? All you guys who fought in the war, you come back, we're going to help you. It didn't help the black soldiers as much, but what they did was they said, if you are a white person who has fought for this country, we're going to help you. We're going to help you buy a house. We're going to help you go to school. And for a long time, that wasn't frowned upon in America. It wasn't seen as a handout. It was seen as a boost. It was a normal thing. But now it feels like once that boost is going towards a certain group of people, now there's resistance to that idea. This is not a country of handouts. This is where you work hard. It's like, yes,
exactly.
We all work hard. But it helps when somebody doesn't block the path that you're trying to work hard towards.
So what's their answer when you ask them that, though? When you say, hey, why wouldn't you want that? Do they pull out their Klan hoodie and this is why I don't want it?
Like, no, I genuinely think it's framing. I've learned most of American politics is hampered by political branding. It's brilliant, and it's how most of the conversations are distilled in this country. A classic example, and a simple one, is Obamacare versus the Affordable Care Act. They asked Americans, do you support Obamacare?
No.
The numbers were dismal.
Yep.
They said, do you support the Affordable Care Act? The numbers would double.
Yep.
Same
thing.
thing, different name. Why? Because the one sounds like black medicine. That's why.
Yo, that's so fucking brilliant.
Wow.
It was the exact same thing for
Yeah.
healthcare. The exact same thing, but they just different name.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you the people that's controlling the way that this planet is run. They think of their ways, like they're very like meticulous with it. They don't just do stuff, think of it and do it. They mastermind, they master it, and then they put it out there like the Obamacare and then the Healthcare Act. It was the exact same thing, just different names. That's just how they fool the public.
Yeah.
Now, what's the role of comedy in politics?
Well, that's an interesting question. What is the role of comedy in politics?
Especially right now.
I've lived in a country where for many years comedy wasn't legal if it was speaking about what was going on in the country. There's still African countries where you can't just tell whatever joke you want to. So I think for me, the most important aspect of comedy personally is knowing that you still have, the freedom of speech to say what you want to say about what's going on in the world. In terms of its importance, I think it changes from person to person. For me, it's about giving people a reprieve, because people get so stressed out about what's happening in the news. People get stressed out about what's happening in politics. And I think comedy reminds you of who you're trying to be, who you maybe once were, and that the world is not always ending, even though it seems like it may be.
But isn't it the most effective way to inform people about politics? Like people who may not be informed about politics any other time, they get it from the late night shows, seem like.
Well, I don't think it's the most effective way. I think it has become one of the more effective ways in America because of how bad your news is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's so much fear mongering.
Yeah,
they want something lighter.
But what is news in America? It's opinion panels. It's boxes of people shouting at each other. It's people sitting on a couch spewing opinions. Whereas when you look at news, especially around the world, like in South Africa, what I grew up with, people in Britain, etc., the news is a very boring institution, but very informative. So I grew up watching what was happening all over the world every night as a kid. I didn't enjoy it, but I knew. And so for me, I think maybe a byproduct of American news skewing towards entertainment has meant that entertainment has started to skew towards news. And so that's why people feel like it's one of the best places to be informed. I don't think it's the best way to be informed. I just think right now it's how people are being best informed.
But you do try to be informative.
And like he said, the fact that they're choosing to be informed by the news, it was just a bunch of people's opinion. And that's why, for instance, even with the Trump and the Mexican things, they listening to the news, play these clips of Trump, you feel me, to form a certain opinion. That was so brilliant. Yeah. That was so brilliant.
A lot of the times what happens is, for example, they cut off what they want you to hear. So they put out what they want you to see or hear, and then the rest of the things that should be on there.
That's how they persuade the masses.
They completely cut it out.
That's because they're trying to push you. They're trying to push you to a certain agenda that they want to push.
Exactly.
They want to persuade you to feel how they feel. It's their opinion.
Exactly.
That was dope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think great comedy is about informing yourself. All of the greats have given me that advice in different ways at different times. Everybody from Dick Gregory to Dave Chappelle. They all go like, look at what's happening in the world. Just tell the truth, and then the jokes are going to come from that. So, as a person, I try and make the Daily Show what I'm talking about to my friends, to my writers, to my people. It's not like I leave the building and all of a sudden, I'm thinking of other things. It's everything that's going on in my world, and I try and condense it into that 30-minute show.
So what is the most effective way to be informed nowadays? Because there's so much different news coming at you every second of the day.
I'll be honest with you, I question everything now.
Yeah.
I question everything and I read everything everywhere. So I will read 5 different newspapers. I'll try and get 5 different versions of the story. I try and dig into a thing over and over and over again, because I've come to realize that as much as we like to believe that there's such a thing as objectivity, everyone has some sort of bias.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem with having so many opinion-based sources, right?
Right, yeah, that's the thing.
Because everybody's got some bias.
But there is no, I mean, like, when it comes to politics, you realize there's no definitive truth per se, right? There are certain facts, there are scientific facts, but when it comes to everything else, I mean, everyone can argue chicken or the egg in any argument. So you have to figure out what you base your opinions on, and which economists you trust, which think tanks you trust, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why I have a big team that works here with fact checkers, with writers, with everyone who can come together and say, okay, we agree on this being the most concrete version of the truth that we're going to go out with.
Do you get the final say in that?
Yeah, you have to have the final say. At some point, I got to put my neck on the line and be like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Because again, if I leave the building, it's me. I can't say to you guys tomorrow, if you go, Trevor, why did you say that? Well, actually, Charlamagne, my writer wrote this. No. That's why every single joke that comes out, I either write it with the writers or I approve the joke. I go, that was funny, I'm going to say that.
What do you say to people who say, like, The Daily Show can be an echo chamber?
Everything is an echo chamber. I think that's a term that people use to try and justify what a group of people are saying in and amongst themselves. I think for myself, you will always have an echo chamber because people who watch your show are people who like your show.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So you'll always have that. What I think is key for me is to break out of that bubble that you live in and acknowledge what's happening outside of that world. So what I do is I go, let's acknowledge moments or things that may make us uncomfortable or engage in ideas that other people have that we may not necessarily discuss amongst ourselves.
And that's what he does a lot of the times with his
comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why he's so fucking brilliant.
Yeah, he brings stuff to light that you never even thought of.
That you never think of.
Yeah,
I swear to God, make you look at it from a different perspective.
And I think that's key. So I don't just live in a world where I'm like, you agree, we agree, yeah, we're good, we agree. No, it's like, all right, this is what we know what we think. That's why I want to have Republicans on the show. That's why I have people I would not agree with on any policy on the show, because I want to engage with them on an idea and I want to expose them to my audience and be like, yo, I want you to trust your ideas of the world. Because if what you believe can change when you meet somebody else, then it wasn't based on anything concrete. Your beliefs should be strong enough that they can stand up to the ideas of somebody else.
Yeah, have any of them ever changed your mind? When's the last time that's happened?
I don't know if anyone has changed my mind, but I do know people have given me a different perspective on how to see something, So whether it's Chris Christie or, whether it was Rand Paul or whether it was... There's always something I garner from another human being. I think most human beings are trying to do what they think is right from their point of view. There are obviously people in the world who I think are just evil. There are some human beings who are just like, no, I'm trying to destroy things. But I think most human beings in the world are going, no, I'm right and I'm trying to do what's right.
Yeah.
You feel, that's so deep. That's so deep. That makes me look at it. So when I think of with him saying that most human beings, they try to do what's right from their perspective. So let's just say I was to transfer that over to racism. Do you think people will feel like they doing what's right from their perspective or what they were taught?
Yeah.
Like it makes you think.
Yeah.
That really make me think. Like that's deep. Like I never thought of it like that.
We're taught by your parents, like we're taught to believe in God.
Yeah.
So you think that that's right, but what if there's a different God out there?
Just like everybody with different religions.
Yeah. So how do you know what you're being taught is correct? How do you know if you're living the right way? That's
like he said, he like to gather his information from source, then put it all together and figure out where he feels is correct, what's silent, you know? And that's how you gotta be.
Yeah. So I try and garner even a glimpse of their world from them that helps me understand how to formulate a different argument or see them more as a human being and try to engage with them and get to the same place.
Is there any good way to see this current administration? Has any of them ever said something to you that says, oh, I can see why you support the president?
Is there any good way to see this administration? I don't know if there's a good way to see this administration, but one thing I'll say about Donald Trump that I've repeatedly said is one thing that people take for granted with Donald Trump is that he is brilliant at acknowledging problems.
Really?
He is fantastic at acknowledging problems. His solutions are trash. He's fantastic, though. He doesn't hide that there is a problem. So he will say, for instance, like no one liked it when he went and said, hey, guys, in Belgium and in France, they've got something bubbling up there. He was like, look, man, I've noticed that there is conflict between the immigrant community in these places, and that's going to bubble. And people were like, Trump is you're just talking trash. And then all of a sudden you saw immigrants that were involved in attacks, and people were like, we didn't know this. And people were like, yeah, this is a big thing in the community. How did we not know? And I think it's because a lot of the time we choose to ignore things. His solutions are trash, though, because he'll say the same thing in America. He'll go, we have a problem with immigration, build a wall.
Yeah.
Come on, man, that's not a solution. You know, what are you going to do about the Middle East? We're just going to bomb the shit out of it. These are not solutions. But
Definitely.
I think what he's good at doing is identifying problems. And I think if you understand the problem that he's identifying, you can figure out another solution and then speak to those same people. And I think some politicians have latched onto that now. They've started realizing, the reason Trump connects with people is because he speaks to something that they see as real, but maybe we could give them another solution.
Big facts. Yeah. So look, man, it's a little bit left. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I know it's long. So if y'all want part 3, get it in the comments and let us know. You feel me? I know y'all gonna enjoy this, man. And it actually surprised me. You know, how many of y'all got in the comments like, yo, part 2, part 2, bro. I'm glad y'all enjoy like intellectual stuff like this. You know what I mean? Because this is the type of stuff I'm into. So y'all actually opened my mind to make me like, dang, I should expand outside of just doing music reactions and really get in touch with the culture and stuff over there. You know what I mean? I swear y'all really opened something up in me, bro. I promise you. I'm so glad y'all enjoyed this, man. Look, if y'all got anything more like this that y'all would want me to react to that's, intellectual, that will spark intellectual convos, let me know. Leave it in the comment section. Until next time, man, it's your boy, Trez so lit, baby.
And it's your girl Marisha, so lit.
We'll catch y'all in the next video, y'all.
Peace.